What if I told you the strangest war in history was humans versus birds, and the birds won? Campion, Western Australia, November 2nd, 1932, dawn. Major G.P.W. Meredith raises his binoculars and scans the wheat fields stretching toward the horizon. What he sees doesn't make sense. Thousands of birds, massive, 6-foot-tall flightless birds, are moving through the crops like a locust swarm. They're trampling fences, eating wheat, destroying months of work in minutes. Emus, tens of thousands of them. Meredith lowers the binoculars and looks at the two soldiers beside him, Sergeant S. McMurray, Gunner J. O'Halloran, both holding Lewis machine guns, weapons designed to mow down enemy troops in World War I trenches. They're about to use them on birds. This is the Great Emu War, and it's about to become one of the most bizarre military operations in history. Western Australia, 1932. The Great Depression has crushed the global economy. Australian farmers, many of them World War I veterans given land as compensation for their service, are struggling to survive. They plant wheat, thousands of acres. It's their lifeline, their only income. Then the emus arrive. After the breeding season ends in the interior, approximately 20,000 emus migrate west toward the coast, searching for food and water. They cross into farming territory, and they discover unlimited wheat fields, an all-you-can-eat buffet. The damage is catastrophic. Emus don't just eat the crops, they trample them, destroy fences meant to keep out rabbits, another agricultural pest, create gaps that let other animals in. Farmers try everything, scare tactics, noise, fencing. Nothing works. The emus are too many, too fast, too persistent. So the farmers take their complaints to the government. They're ex-soldiers. They served their country in the trenches of France. They demand help. The Australian government makes a decision that will haunt them for decades. Send in the military. Defense Minister Sir George Pearce approves a military operation. The objective? Cull the emu population, protect the farmers' crops. Demonstrate government support for veterans. It should be simple. Emus are birds. Large, yes, but still just birds. The military has machine guns, trained soldiers, motorized vehicles. How hard can it be? Major Meredith is placed in command. He's a seasoned officer, respected, professional. He's given 2 soldiers, 2 Lewis guns, 10,000 rounds of ammunition, and instructions to eliminate as many emus as possible. The operation is scheduled to begin in October 1932, but rain delays the deployment. The emus scatter temporarily. By early November, the emus return in force, and the military finally arrives. Meredith surveys the situation, studies the terrain, observes emu behavior, and he starts to realize this won't be as easy as anyone expected. November 2nd, the first engagement. Meredith's team spots a group of approximately 50 emus feeding near a water source. Perfect opportunity, close range, clear line of sight. The soldiers set up the Lewis guns, position themselves, wait for the emus to cluster together. Then they open fire. The machine guns roar, bullets spray across the field, and the emus scatter. Not in panic, not in chaos, in organized retreat. They split into small groups, moving in different directions, making themselves harder to target. They zigzag, use terrain for cover, run at speeds up to 30 miles per hour. The soldiers manage to kill a handful, maybe a dozen. The rest escape. Meredith stares at the field. He just fired hundreds of rounds from military-grade machine guns at flightless birds, and the birds won. Over the next few days, Meredith's team attempts multiple engagements. Each time, the results are similar. The emus are fast, faster than anyone expected. They can sustain speeds of 30 miles per hour for extended periods. They change direction instantly. They use bushes, rocks, slight depressions in the ground, anything that provides even minimal cover. Worse, they seem to learn. After the first few encounters, the emus become warier. They don't cluster in large groups. They post sentries, individual birds that watch for threats while others feed. When the sentries spot the soldiers, they make a warning sound. The entire flock disperses before the guns can even be set up. It's like fighting an enemy with military tactics, except the enemy is birds. Meredith tries a new approach. Mount the Lewis guns on vehicles, drive alongside the emus, fire while moving. It's a disaster. The terrain is rough, dirt roads, fields with ruts, unpredictable ground. The vehicles bounce. The gunners can't maintain steady aim. The emus, meanwhile, run beside the vehicles effortlessly. They match the truck's speed, then veer off into scrubland where the vehicles can't follow. During one attempt, the truck breaks down. The soldiers watch helplessly as the emus disappear into the distance. During another, the gun mount breaks from the vibration. The weapon becomes useless. Meredith reports back to command the operation isn't working. They're expending enormous amounts of ammunition for minimal results. The kill count, approximately 50 emus. Rounds fired, 2,500. That's 50 bullets per bird. For context, a trained soldier in World War I was expected to hit a human-sized target with 1 or 2 shots at similar ranges. But the emus aren't staying still, aren't moving predictably, aren't cooperating, and the soldiers are starting to look ridiculous. Walgulan, Western Australia, November 8, 1932. Major Meredith receives complaints from the farmers, not about the emus, about the soldiers. The machine gun fire is scaring livestock, damaging equipment, creating noise that terrifies horses and cattle. And the emus? Still everywhere. Meredith adjusts tactics again. This time, he coordinates with farmers to locate the largest emu concentrations, set up ambushes near waterholes where the birds gather at dawn. It should work. Emus need water. They have to drink. It's a predictable choke point. November 9th, pre-dawn. The soldiers position themselves downwind from a waterhole, set up both Lewis guns with overlapping fields of fire. Wait in silence as the sun rises. The emus arrive, hundreds of them, moving cautiously toward the water. Meredith watches through binoculars, waits for the optimal moment, when the maximum number of birds are clustered together, drinking, vulnerable. He signals. Both guns open fire simultaneously. For 5 seconds, it works. Emus fall. The machine guns rake across the group. Then chaos. The survivors don't just run away. They scatter in every direction, including directly toward the soldiers' position. A wall of 6-foot-tall, 80-pound birds charging at full speed. The soldiers keep firing, but emus are moving too fast, too erratically. Most rounds miss. The birds split around the soldiers' position like water around rocks, disappearing into the bush within seconds. When the dust settles, approximately 30 emus are dead. Several hundred escaped, and one soldier has a minor injury, kicked by an emu that got too close before being shot. It's humiliating. By mid-November, news of the operation leaks to Australian newspapers. Journalists love it. Headlines mock the military. Emus win battle against soldiers. Army defeated by flightless birds. Machine guns no match for outback fowl. One newspaper publishes a satirical piece suggesting the emus should be awarded medals for their tactical brilliance. Another jokes that the government should negotiate a peace treaty. Ornithologist Dominic Cervanti, observing the operation for scientific purposes, comments, "The emus have proven that they can face machine guns with the invulnerability of tanks. They are like Zulus, whom even dum-dum bullets could not stop." It's not a compliment to the military. The public finds it hilarious. A military operation against birds, expensive machine guns, thousands of rounds of ammunition. And the birds are winning. Politicians in Canberra are less amused. Meredith writes in his official reports that the emu's tactics are guerrilla-like. The birds don't mass together. They operate in small, mobile groups. They're incredibly observant, spotting soldiers from hundreds of yards away. They adapt to threats, changing feeding patterns, avoiding areas where they've been fired upon. And they're tough. Meredith reports that emus can absorb multiple bullet wounds and keep running. Their thick feathers and bone structure protect vital organs. Unless a shot hits the head or heart, a difficult target on a moving bird, the emu often survives long enough to escape. He writes, "If we had a military division with the bullet-carrying capacity of these birds, it would face any army in the world." It's part admiration, part frustration, part disbelief. The military is being outmaneuvered by birds. By November 12th, 10 days into the operation, the official tally is approximately 200 emus killed. The ammunition expenditure? 2,500 rounds. That's over 12 bullets per emu. For context, during World War I, armies calculated that it took approximately 7,000 bullets to kill one enemy soldier. But that included suppressive fire, covering fire, and situations where accuracy was impossible. In this operation, the soldiers have clear sight lines, no return fire, and stationary or slow-moving targets at times. And they're still using over a dozen rounds per kill. The farmers are unimpressed. 200 emus barely makes a dent in a population of 20,000. The government is embarrassed. This was supposed to be a quick demonstration of support for veterans. Instead, it's become a national joke. And the emus? Still destroying crops. November 10th. Defense Minister Sir George Pierce reviews Meredith's reports. The operation is a public relations disaster, expensive, ineffective, turning the military into a laughingstock. Pierce orders the withdrawal of military forces. The official explanation? Ammunition shortages, budget concerns, more pressing military priorities. The real reason? The government can't afford to look any more foolish than it already does. Meredith and his team pack up their equipment, return to base, file final reports. Official military casualties, 0 soldiers killed or seriously injured. Official emu casualties, approximately 200 confirmed, maybe 500 total including wounded that later died. Ammunition expended, 2,500 plus rounds. Emus remaining in the area, approximately 19,500. The Great Emu War is over, and the emus have won. The farmers are furious. The government promised help, sent the military, and achieved nothing. The emus continue destroying crops through the rest of 1932 and into 1933. Politicians face questions in Parliament. Opposition members mock the government. Newspapers run cartoons showing emus in military uniforms, awarding medals to bird generals. One member of Parliament sarcastically suggests that the emus should be given a representative in government since they've proven they can defeat the Australian military. Major Meredith quietly returns to regular military duties. His official service record mentions the emu operation only briefly. It's not a career highlight. But the story doesn't end in November 1932. Because the emu problem still exists, and the farmers still need a solution. Campion, Western Australia, November 1934. 2 years later. The emus are back. After the humiliating withdrawal in 1932, the emu population never decreased. If anything, it grew. The birds continue migrating west after breeding season, and the farmers' wheat fields remain their favorite destination. Crop losses mount. Farmers renew their complaints. The government, still embarrassed by the first operation, resists sending the military again. But political pressure increases. Veteran farmers demand action. They've been promised support. They need relief. Reluctantly, the government authorizes a second military operation. This time, they're determined to do it differently. Major Meredith is assigned command again, likely because he has experience with emu behavior, not because anyone wants to relive the first operation. He arrives with the same equipment, Lewis guns, small team, vehicle support. But this time, he has a plan based on hard-learned lessons. No more attempting to shoot emus on the run. No more chasing them across open terrain. No more waterhole ambushes where they scatter in every direction. Instead, patience, observation, waiting for situations where emus are contained, cornered, or predictable. The second operation lasts from November through December 1934. Meredith's more cautious approach yields better results, relatively speaking. Over 6 weeks, the military kills approximately 1,000 emus, using 9,860 rounds of ammunition. That's roughly 10 bullets per bird, an improvement over the first operation's 12-to-1 ratio, but still absurdly high for shooting large, flightless birds at relatively close range. For comparison, experienced hunters killing emus for pest control typically use 1 or 2 rifle shots per bird. The military's problem isn't marksmanship, it's tactics. Machine guns are designed for suppressive fire against massed infantry, not precision targeting of fast-moving individual animals. And the emus, once again, prove maddeningly difficult to kill in large numbers. Meredith tries several approaches. Driving emus into ambushes. Coordinate with farmers to herd emus toward prepared positions. The emus refuse to be herded. They break through lines, scatter into brush, or simply run faster than the farmers can coordinate. Night operations. Set up near known feeding areas after dark. Use vehicle headlights to blind the birds, then open fire. The emus adapt within days. They stop feeding in open areas at night, moving to locations the vehicles can't access. Stationary defense. Position soldiers at the edges of wheat fields. Shoot emus as they enter. The emus learn which fields are defended and simply move to undefended areas. There are thousands of square miles of farmland. The military can't guard it all. Each tactic works initially. Then the emus adjust. It's like fighting an enemy that learns from every engagement. Except the enemy is a bird with a brain the size of a walnut. Scientists observing the operation are fascinated. Emus, they note, demonstrate sophisticated survival behaviors. Sentinel behavior, in groups, 1 or 2 emus remain alert while others feed, rotating watch duty. Scatter patterns. When threatened, they split into multiple small groups moving in different directions, making it impossible to target them all. Speed and endurance. Capable of sustained running at 30 miles per hour with bursts up to 40 miles per hour. Terrain adaptation. Instinctively use any available cover. Bushes, rocks, slight elevation changes. Learning. After repeated encounters, emus avoid areas where they've been shot at. One researcher writes, "The emu has proven to be a more challenging adversary than anticipated. Its natural behaviors are remarkably well suited to evading concentrated fire." Translation, birds are harder to kill with machine guns than the military expected. The Australian press has a field day. Again. Government declares war on emus. Again. Military still can't defeat birds. Second Emu War just as unsuccessful as the first. International newspapers pick up the story. British papers run satirical pieces. American journalists find it hilarious, an entire military operation defeated by flightless birds. One cartoonist depicts an emu wearing a military general's uniform standing over a defeated Australian soldier with the caption, "Unconditional surrender." The jokes write themselves. By mid-December, the government quietly ends the second operation. Official explanation? Mission accomplished. Emu numbers reduced. Reality, the operation achieved marginal results at significant expense, and the government can't afford more embarrassment. The military withdraws again. Total emu casualties across both operations? Approximately 1,200 confirmed kills. Estimated emu population in the region? Still over 15,000. The emus have won. Again. After the military fails twice, the government finally implements a solution that works. Bounty system. Pay farmers for every emu killed. Professional hunters, using rifles, not machine guns, kill emus efficiently. Over the next few years, they eliminate tens of thousands. Improved fencing. Government subsidies help farmers build emu-proof barriers. Taller, stronger, properly maintained. Population management. Ongoing culling programs keep emu numbers manageable without requiring military intervention. Within a few years, the emu problem is under control. Not because of military might, but because the government finally used the right tools for the job. Machine guns designed for trench warfare were never the solution. Patient hunters with rifles were. The Great Emu War becomes a footnote in Australian history, a bizarre, embarrassing episode that most people prefer to forget. Major Meredith never speaks publicly about the operation. His official military service is otherwise distinguished, but the emu campaigns remain an uncomfortable footnote. The farmers eventually recover. Wheat production stabilizes. Life returns to normal. The emus? Still thriving across Australia. Their population numbers in the hundreds of thousands today. They won the war, and they don't even know it. The Great Emu War is funny. There's no denying that. Soldiers with machine guns defeated by birds is objectively absurd. But it's also a lesson in misapplied resources. The military brought overwhelming firepower to a problem that required different tactics. They treated emus like enemy soldiers, expecting them to mass together, move predictably, respond to suppressive fire. But emus aren't soldiers. They're wild animals with survival instincts honed by millions of years of evolution. No amount of firepower could overcome the fundamental mismatch between the weapon and the target. It's a reminder that sometimes the most powerful tool isn't the right tool, and sometimes the enemy you underestimate is the one that defeats you, even if that enemy is a bird.